What changes faster than British weather? Their ministers. Another one could bite the dust soon, perhaps by the end of today. I'm talking about Suella Braverman. She is Britain's Home Secretary, sort of like their Home Minister. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is under pressure to fire her. And why is that? Well, if you've followed her career, that's the wrong question to ask. The right one is, why not? Because Suella Braverman is no stranger to controversies. She stumbles from one to the next. And this time, it has to do with Israel and Palestine. There's a big pro-Palestine rally scheduled for tomorrow. Thousands of people are expected to attend. Braverman did not want the rally to go ahead. She wanted to ban it, but the police disagreed. They said that there was no credible threat from this rally. So the police granted permission. But Suella Braverman decided to write about it. She wrote an article, and this is what she said in it. There is a perception that senior police officers play favorites when it comes to protesters. Speaking with current and former police officers, they have brought attention to this unfair disparity. Let me translate that for you. Suella Braverman says the police has pro-Palestine bias. Now you can see why that's a problem. We are talking about the Home Secretary here. She is publicly questioning the judgment of the British police. She's accusing them of bias, and that's not all. She did so without the Prime Minister's permission. So Tory MPs say she must go. The decision is now up to Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. His office says an internal investigation is underway. Now, there are two issues to look at here. The first is internal Tory politics. The second is the politics around Palestine. Let's look at the first one first. Rishi Sunak and Suella Braverman are not exactly buddies. Braverman has prime ministerial ambitions. She's been more than willing to challenge Rishi Sunak's authority. This article being the latest example. Also, her policies are not a hit. You may remember Britain's Rwanda deportation plan. It was announced last year. The plan is to send asylum seekers to Rwanda, sort of like exporting migrants. Well, that plan is being challenged in court. A verdict is expected next week. If the court strikes it down, Braverman has proposed a backup. She wants the UK to leave the European Convention on Human Rights. That's something Prime Minister Sunak is not keen on. My point is, he has reasons to fire Braverman, reasons that go beyond just Palestine. Of course, her statements on this conflict do not help. Because unlike Sunak, Braverman is more blunt.
Well, first of all, let me explain what we've seen over the last few weekends. We've seen now tens of thousands of people take to the streets following the massacre of Jewish people. To my mind, there's only one way to describe those marches. They are hate marches.
I'm sure some protesters crossed the line, but Braverman made a sweeping statement here. She says pro-Palestine marches are hate marches. It's an issue that the whole country is grappling with because the UK seems to be divided. YouGov conducted a poll recently. Look at the results. 19% Britons claim to have sympathy for Israel. 19% also had sympathy for Palestine, and 31% had sympathy for both sides. So things are pretty even. But political parties have found it hard to balance these opinions, especially the Labour Party. Their leader is Keir Starmer. He has refused to call for a ceasefire in Gaza. Starmer says it would help the Hamas. But his lawmakers disagree.
It is beyond unacceptable that children are paying the ultimate price amidst the failure of political leaders in the US, in the UK and Europe to call for an immediate ceasefire and oppose violations of international law.
More than 10,000 Palestinians have been slaughtered in Israel's assault, nearly half of whom are children. It would take nearly 6 hours to read the names and ages of every child killed so far. But this horror has been given the green light by this government. So, Mr. Deputy Speaker, today I tabled an amendment to the King's speech calling for an immediate ceasefire, a move backed by 76% of the British public.
Some of them have resigned, like Shadow Minister Imran Hussain. He wants the Labour Party to call for a ceasefire. 15 other senior Labour leaders feel the same. It's a tough situation for Keir Starmer. His party is leading in the polls. Only a miracle can keep the Tories in power after the next election. Could this rebellion be that miracle? Well, maybe not. Because to capitalise on this situation, the Tories need a united front, not a Prime Minister and a Home Secretary at war.